Welcome to the Assent podcast, Episode 2, The 5 Principles. This is a podcast about assenting to the right principles. In my book, 5 Principles, I write about what I believe are foundational principles to living a meaningful life. Purpose, skill, people, environment, resources. For me, the path to living a meaningful life is one where we have a purpose. Ideally, that purpose serves and values other people. It helps us to develop our skills and teaches us how to be disciplined with the resources that we have at our disposal so that we can move through our environment towards that aim, that purpose. Each component is critically important, but living purposefully is the most important. As the great Dostoevsky wrote in The Brothers Karamazov, the mystery of human existence lies not in just staying alive, but in finding something to live for. So, in part, purpose is knowing what our resources are, knowing what our world is, having relationships with people, and understanding our skill sets and our weaknesses. However, purpose transcends the self. As human beings, we crave meaning. Somewhere between 1.9 million years ago and 400,000 years ago, our ancestor, Homo erectus, lived. Then, about 350,000 years ago, the first Homo sapiens came on the scene as nothing special. We struggled as a species for nearly 300,000 years. Until something happened about 50,000 years ago. We began telling stories and believing them. We woke up and began trying to make sense of the chaos. Over the last 50,000 years, we as a species have done amazing things. We have survived and propagated to where we can regularly make it into old age. We have learned a lot, and also a little, over this time. Some of the things that we have learned have been passed down to us in stories. The Epic of Gilgamesh teaches us wisdom and kindness are more important than immortality, and death is inevitable. What you seek, you shall never find, for when gods made man, they kept immortality to themselves. From the fathers of philosophy, to them, I said, the truth would be literally nothing but the shadows of the images. Socrates in Plato's allegory of the cave. These stories call us to break free from the chains of ignorance and seek out higher realities. And all of Holy Scripture points us to the highest reality, God and the building of His kingdom. Matthew 6:33 says, "But seek first His kingdom." Realize that your purpose is not just something of your own, but one that must also fit into history and even into God's plan. Each story is unique, and our story matters. Assenting to truthful stories is important. How can we know the truth? It's complicated, but doable. We know a meaningful story when we hear it. Peter tells the Romans to glory in tribulation, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance character, and character hope. Seneca writes to a friend, "I judge you unfortunate because you have never lived through misfortune. You have passed through life without an opponent. No one can ever know what you are capable of, not even you." You see, the hero of a story is only the hero because they overcame difficulty. So we have to take up our cross. We have to confront the suffering that we cause in the world. Think about, where do you cause pain to others in a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual way? Let me confess to you. I let people down physically when I do not show up to train with my brothers at my gym, when I eat unhealthy, robbing time away from my children and grandchildren, or when I fail to manage my sleep schedule and bring insufficient energy levels to work. I hurt those around me when I fail to be empathetic to their emotions or lose control of my own emotions through lack of discipline and focus. I cause suffering when my mind focuses on the failings of others and not my own. When, through ignorance or worse, arrogance, I assent to things that are false. When I do not concern myself with the obstacles for growth God placed in front of me, but focus on the arbitrary storm that rages around me. When spiritually, I do not live up to all that God intended for me to become. This is me personally, but I bet we all have these struggles to different degrees. The great news is it means we can all grow together. This individual level is the most important because it enables us to confront suffering at other levels. The individual level is complex because we are physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual beings that have unique traits and dichotomies that are as varied as they are the same. Therefore, we must first start with ourselves before expanding our circles of influence to others around us, our relationships, and our communities. We must first confront the suffering in our own lives. Thanks for listening to the Assent Podcast, a podcast about purpose, skills, people, environment, and resources. I hope this has been educational, inspiring, fun. See you next week. As always, helpful resources are below or in the notes. And please help me out by liking and subscribing to this podcast. Let me know what you think in the comments. What did you like? Where could I make this podcast better?